Hello and welcome back to Shining Force. Last time we finally reached the town of Pau, and we met General Elliot, who we heard about only briefly, actually. And now we have to fight him. There wasn't that much build-up to him. In the previous battle, someone was like, General Elliot will defeat you. And then this town, people were like, General Elliot's really cool, though. And also, we met him. He was hanging out, and he was like, Runefaust has been corrupted by Darksol. And it's obviously bad news, but I'm loyal to the king, so I still have to fight you. If you defeat me in battle, save my kingdom. Which is like, I think he'd be more sympathetic if we had had a little more time to get to know him. As it is, it's just like, buddy, you could be helping us. His design is really cool, though. He's like a dragon-y person? Not sure. He's super unique. Oh, right, actually, should I make another copy? Yeah, I'll make another copy, because I think I'm only going to do one more episode today. And then once I check that the videos are correct, I'll delete them, because this game only has 4 save slots. So we can't, like, maintain archival saves here, right? You know, I can't just have one every episode that I can always go back to. It just is, you know, that's a limitation of the game. But at least this way, I'll have a chance to check whether the videos worked correctly before I save over that part of the game. So here we are in this battlefield, which we did see last time because I accidentally walked off of the map, but here we'll introduce it properly. So let's look at the map. You can see that so like, you can see the variability in map design in this game. 2 battles ago, 2 battles ago we had that when we first left, Bustoke, the cliff place. We were just on basically a map where there weren't very many enemies and it was really slow. Then the previous battle with the laser eye, that was actually really interesting and strategic map design, and it wasn't too big. Now we're on a map that's just a big open field, and it makes sense story-wise because we learned at the town of Pau, these are the Pau plains, and how it kind of travels around them going to different places. So these are indeed the plains, makes sense, but that doesn't change the fact that this is just a gigantic map. The enemies are all the way at the other side, and there's really not a lot on it. This is a castle we're going to next. Or, well, later. I think we go back to Pau first. So, this isn't, like, the greatest map design. And it's all this really bright green, which, at least with the brightness settings on my TV, I find a little painful to look at. So basically we have the same enemy types as before. We've got a lot more of these. Now that the Silver Knights have been introduced, we've seen more of them. That's true for a lot of enemies, like we'll have 1 or 2 in the first battle where they appear, and then they'll become a common enemy. This guy is new. The artillery, it's just as it sounds, it's like a moving, it's like a medievally tank basically, and it can shoot us. It's surprisingly fast for a mobile artillery. It doesn't have too much HP, which is good because it's pretty strong. And it doesn't have too much move, so it's oops, I meant to click on Elliot as well. It takes so long for the cursor to travel from one side of the map to the other because the map is really big, which also annoys me, because it's like, why is it so big? That doesn't add anything. But here's Elliot. He is the greatest swordsman in Runefaust. His deal is that he's actually a noble knight, but he's really loyal to the king, and the king has like been completely swayed by Darksol, who's like convinced him that he'll open the Gate of the Ancients and rule the world, which again, the king apparently already wanted to rule the world, so it's like, Elliot, is this man truly deserving of your loyalty? He sounds like an asshole, but be that as it may, he's a loyal knight to his country, and he's like, I have to fight you, even though I know that things are wrong in Runefaust right now, but if you defeat me, please free Runefaust from Darksol. Oh, it's really sad that we can't recruit him. Like, maybe we could, like, turn him from the enemy side and convince him that, like, we actually just want to defeat, like, Darksol and his cronies. We don't want to hurt, like, the normal people in Runefaust at all. We just want to make sure the world doesn't get destroyed, but he is the classic JRPG, the one good guy in the villain team. So you can see that he's really strong. He has 32 attack. He will hit like a truck. He has 17 defense, which is, like, tanky, but it's not... It could be a lot worse, but he also has 60 HP, so he will take a lot to kill. He is gonna be tough to hurt, because he just has so much HP to eat through. And he is so strong that he's very dangerous for us to fight. We're definitely gonna want to have our highest defense characters kind of surrounding him, so, May will definitely be a good choice here, because she has, like, what, 20 defense? Even she, though, will take, like, a 12 damage. His attack is so high. But definitely he's gonna be tough. So he lives up to his reputation as, like, this amazing general. And I have no idea what he is, and I don't know if he's supposed to be a dragon, but to me as a kid, he looked like he was a dragon. Like, he's like a bearded lizard, so I was like, oh, he's like a wise, ancient dragon. And he's red, which looked like, you know, oh, it's like his scales, so I thought he was a dragon dude as a kid. But I actually have no idea what he is. He's another example of this game's vast collection of animal people, which we have loads of those in our party too, and Xylo is really the only one who gets an explanation. He's a werewolf, but like, no one even remarks that Chris is a dog person, even though her mother, or her grandma, or whoever that we meet in the town where we recruited her, was a human. So for the most part, there's no explanation for why... You know what else there's no explanation for? If Runefast is actually not that bad of a place, and it's just that the evil Darksol is manipulating everyone, like, it still doesn't, like, explain why everyone who lives there is, like, a monster. They're like, there don't seem to be any, like, of the units that we can recruit. They're all, like, they don't have normal priests, they have dark priests. They don't have normal mages, they have dark mages. So it's like, are they just like the land of the goths? That's why they're all kind of dark. They have the dark dwarves, you know, there's a theme there. Or are all these people the servants of Darksol and like Runefast's actual knights are somewhere else? It's a little unclear, because we never fight like just units in this game. We're always fighting, so like is Runefast just, they're the land of, like these are the species that live there, and in the land of, in our like area of Guardiana, the species that live there are humans and centaurs, and they're just like separated, or... Although there are centaurs there too, they just dress differently than us. They're not like the dark centaurs as far as we know. It's somewhat unclear. But also it's like, Elliot, I know you're loyal to Runefast, but you're working with people who have done some pretty bad things, like murdering civilians and creating like a labor camp. I mean, you know, you're running with a bad crowd here. But yeah, this game has a lot of... And again, I said this, I think, in the first episode, but I do think part of it might be that because it is an old game, and, you know, obviously the graphics are more limited than what, you know, you can do nowadays, they made the character designs like that in order to help them be really visually distinct, so they didn't all kind of end up looking similar. Because you can see that, like, I mean, I'm sure you could make, I'm not saying you couldn't make a bunch of portraits of people that looked like different people, but they would be a little less distinctive. So this helps it just be like they stand out a lot more. Like you got the elves and the werewolves, and you know, it's easy to remember who is who. It's not just like, you know, and the knights, honestly, you can see why this approach is needed, because there's a lot of knights, and they kind of start to blend together after a while, because they're just all centaur people, and they look different visually, sure, but they don't necessarily stick in your mind. It's like, we got Fonkar and Pele and Ken, and we'll get that other guy, Ernest, and there's gonna be tons of them. And they sort of start, and Arthur, they start to blend together a little. Whereas, like, Kokichi, it's like, I'm not gonna forget who he is. He's Tony Stark, but in his medieval Tony Stark, basically. And Xylo, the werewolf guy, I'm not gonna forget who he is. So it definitely helps the characters be really distinctive, in spite of the fact that we don't get to know a lot about their backstory, and there's not a lot of room for their portraits and other sprite art to help them, you know, us see what they look like. So it works. And it definitely creates such a unique aesthetic for the Shining series in general. Not that I played tons of the games, but certainly the old ones, like even Shining in the Darkness and stuff, has like some wacky character designs like that. And it definitely lends the series overall a really unique kind of vibe. So I do like it, but it also leads to there being a lot of characters who you're like, what actually are they though? And Elliot is one of them. You're like, what is he supposed to be? I'm going with dragon. The only confusing thing is that we will recruit an actual dragon later, so I guess he's more like a Draco Knight, like from... That's a reference to the Dragonlance series from when I was a kid, so that's dating myself a little here. But yeah, I think he looks vaguely dragonish. Lo is probably getting replaced once we get Domingo. It's so hard to choose just 11 characters. It is like, it is a trial. Because I like them all and I want to use them all. And let me just say, look how friggin' big this map is. I think we could stand to have a few more. I think... Look how this sprite, it's so good. It truly looks like he's an old man in a wacky homemade flying machine. It's just delightful. It's so silly looking. I love it. But look how friggin' huge this map is. We could stand to have more party members available. I realize there'd also have to be maybe more enemies, but there's room. Either that or I would prefer the maps to be a little smaller. You know, it's like having gigantic maps with lots of people on them. Yes, it would make the game take longer. That is 100% true. But having gigantic maps with very few people on them just leads to a lot of wasted space. Although, now that I've complained about that, you know what does actually occur to me, and which may be the case, I wonder if engine limitations are at work here. Like, there may be a limit to how many sprites can be on the screen at once. In which case, obviously, they can only let us deploy so many characters before it starts like being possible to have more enemy characters. So the engine, but in that case, it's like make the map smaller. That is not caused by engine limitations. That is a decision to make them ridiculous. I'm kind of focusing on these lizard men a little just because they hit harder than Pegasus Knights. May got some strength. Oh, she got nothing in that level. I'm mad. I'm mad. I wish you could target Blaze 2 in an empty space, because then I could target it at the middle of these guys. But you have to target it on an enemy unit, tragically. It seems like a waste to use it on him. I feel like with magic, I sometimes tend to have like the scarcity problem where I'm like, I only get so many spells, so I don't want to waste it on an enemy that's got 2 HP. You know how it is. I don't actually know if she can kill this guy. She may have already fallen behind too much. Oh, she could. Excellent. Just barely. But that was a nice chance to get her little exp. This battle also sucks because, again, because it's just a big open field, you kind of get swarmed by a ton of enemies at once, and there's no, like, terrain or anything to work around or anything. It's just like, well, here we are. So it doesn't feel super strategic to me. It's just kind of like, yeah, we're just kind of doing this. Whereas the last battle felt so much more like the design felt a little more intentional. But, you know, it varies a lot in this game. And this was, not only is it an old game and, like, you know, oh, you got a random, this is a rare drop for the lizard men, I think, when you get the heat axe. It's a really good axe. Oh, but I just dropped a Gort. Should I bring him back? We don't have any axe seizures at all right now. Darn. I feel very conflicted. Okay, let's try and get Kokichi to kill. I'd like to get him some levels. I haven't actually used him in past playthroughs, because, like, in the past, as a kid when I played this, you know, it was like, by the time I got to this part, you know, you've already been training your army for a while, so it was like, oh, I don't want to swap anyone out. But I've heard he's actually really strong, and he's definitely a unique and oddball character, so I'd at least like to give him a try. To be fair, if I wanted to and had the patience, I could level everyone up because you can repeat battles as many times as you want, so you can grind. I will say that, obviously, the longer you leave it, I'm not going to put her out in front because she's so fragile. The longer you wait, the harder that will get, because eventually you could get to the point where you just can't, you have someone who's so low level, you're not going to be able to damage any of the enemies. So, like, I wouldn't say that, like, for the entire game you can always grind everyone, but if you have the patience, even as you start to recruit more people, you can keep your whole army, you know, competitive in level. But the thing is, to do that, you would have to keep replaying battles and, like, swapping your party out every time and getting them levels, and it would take quite a while. It would just be, oh, he got such a nice NP increase too. Oh, I don't know if I knew 2 healers, but he got such a good level. This is so hard. But yeah, it would just take ages, and I don't know, I don't think it's worth the time. As a kid, oh, critical hit, that's bad. As a kid, I might very well have done that, but now as an adult with a lot more with both less free time and more games that I would like to play and that I have around, I don't really have the patience to do that. It's just not really worth it, you know? Especially since the battles in this game just take a fair amount of time. And that's in part because the maps tend to be really enormous, and once you get past the early game, the maps are huge, so it takes a long time to move across them. It takes a long time. I wonder if there's a car alarm going off outside right now, and I'm wondering if in the background of this video you'll faintly be able to hear it. I don't know if the microphone can pick it up. Really annoying. I gotta say. Oh, it stopped. Whoever's car was a dog. But anyway, yeah, they just take a long time, and like the cursor moves back and forth between enemies too, and it doesn't move super fast, so even just going through the enemy turns just to have everyone move or stand still takes a fair amount of time. The animations look nice, I do like them a lot, but they're also not particularly fast. So the whole game, the battles do tend to drag. So going through and grinding would be time consuming, primarily because of that, honestly. If it was faster to do, maybe I'd like try it so you can show off more characters, but it just is, it takes so much time. Like, look how much time each of these, just finishing all the battles once in these episodes is taking. It's not exactly a quick endeavor. Excellent, level 9. More attack, that's good. She's been getting a lot of speed, that's very nice. A couple more turns. Yeah, Xylo's up! Xylo hype. I do like Xylo a lot. So yeah, we're pretty much, as we get new people, if there's someone that I want to use kind of in the final party, I will add them. But other than that, we're not going to be spending a lot of time swapping people in and out, because the thing is, there's not a lot of reason to do it. So even if you had a bunch of party members who are all similar level that you could take for a battle, you're really only going to have the occasional fight where you have any reason to swap. So a fight like the one where we had all those mountains, right? It's like, okay, in this battle, you know, if we had all of our flying, at the time we had two, but if you have all of your flying characters trained up for a battle like that, you might be like, oh, this is the perfect spot to use them. But it's not like there's that many battles where that's the case, you know? So overall, considering the enormous investment it would be to keep everyone leveled, I certainly do not think it is worthwhile. Because you really only get those 11 slots, like 11 characters and you. That's it. We'll never get more than that. Can't remember one of the wizard. Oops, I meant to go to Blaze instead, but the cursor defaulted back and I forgot. So yeah, to me, if you're only ever going to be able to deploy 11 characters, like leveling up 30 characters, there's just no reason. There's no benefit. You know, you sort of are kind of wasting your effort. And like, yeah, we could do it just to get everyone's and like, I will say, again, in Fire Emblem, I actually will level up, like, especially the newer games where you can grind, and also in 8, which is an older game, but also at grinding. I legitimately will level up the entire army and max them out, but it just, those games are faster. They're more modern games, so they run a lot faster. The battle design is a little more, you don't have these maps where you spend the whole time just walking across it, not doing a lot. It's a modern game, and because they're portable, it also just feels a little more convenient. Now, yes, this is on the Switch, technically it is portable, but for purposes of this Let's Play, it is not. It has to sit here in my recording setup. Excellent job, Beltroy. So, I am honestly the type who will grind the entire army, but not for this game, where it's more irritating. And where it doesn't feel as rewarding. And again, in Fire Emblem, it's also more worthwhile because you're gonna have battles where you're like, oh, I need a ton of lances, and then maybe in the next battle, most enemies use axes, so now you want a ton of swords, whereas that's not how this one works. There's not, like, weapon differentiation and stuff. I think maybe leveling Kokichi is gonna take long enough that level 7 isn't even that far behind, but I'm like, Do I care enough? I'll try and feed him that peg night. It won't even take that long to get him going. It's just, it's an investment early on, you know. The initial leveling up is... Also, it's mainly because this map kind of annoys me. Because, like, there's that initial rush of enemies where it's like, oh, there's a shit ton of dudes, and then you just walk across the map and it's like, now I'll fight those other dudes, I guess. Excellent, these are lovely. Ooh, very nice attack boost there. If that's going to be characteristic of his level ups, I see why he was recommended. But yeah, it's... this map, I think it's over. So I'm not that hyped about playing it. I was more hyped about the laser eye map. I can't remember if the town of Pow comes back immediately after this battle, or if we go to that castle off on the right first, and then it comes back later. I think it's right after the battle, but I don't remember, so we will find out when I've finished fighting these dudes. I have to stop. You know, whether you're bored isn't necessarily just about the amount of time it takes, it's about how engaging the activity is. And this battle just doesn't have a lot of stuff in it, so it doesn't feel like, you know, I don't have to spend a lot of time strategizing here, so I'm just like, oh, whatever. When we get over to Elliot and we're getting down to the end, that will honestly get tougher because he's a really difficult enemy, in a different way than the marionette, and from the circus battle, and in a less annoying way, I gotta say, because he can't multi-target us. Oh, those priests in the evasion. Maybe I should give him Kokichi this speed ring, because then he'd get turns more quickly. Who even has it right now? I think it's Chris. Maybe I'll have Henri kill just one of these guys, because, you know, level 8, that's starting to be the average of the party. We don't want her to fall behind. I hope she'll eventually get some HP. Excellent. Oh, she got nothing from that level up. Does that become more common as you get higher in level? Is that, like, just a thing that happens? I'm actually, probably after this one, I think this will be the last episode I do today. Because it's, you know, we'll probably have, like, at least another half hour in this episode, and, you know, then it'll be getting late. I have to record these after work, and today is the day I buy groceries, so I didn't have as much time to record. I had to do that first. Adult life. Hashtag. But yeah, so probably after, like, before I do the next one, I'm probably actually going to look up, like, how the promotions work, because I do want to check if there's, like, a level at which leveling up without promoting stops being beneficial, because in Fire Emblem, there's a hard cap, so you get to that and you're done. B, each level has exactly the same chance of giving you stats as every other level, so they're all valuable. But I don't know whether that's the case in this game, or whether there's a point at which the effectiveness drops off. Now we have the knights coming over, so sort of the second wave of enemies. So I will check, because I would like to start promoting some characters. I don't think we need to yet, because our power level seems totally fine. So it's not like I'm like, oh no, we're falling behind, we're too weak. Not at all, but promoting them is fun. Honestly, you do run into the problem. This happens in Fire Emblem too, where, like, you know, at the start of the game, you're like, oh, we're really weak, we're leveling up, and then you get to this middle section where you're starting to be able to promote everyone, and you're so hyped because it's like, oh, I promoted this one, and now it's this one's turn, you're getting these power boosts. But then you finish promoting everyone that you use, and at some point you're like, well, I guess that's that. Everyone is where they're gonna be. Which is a little bit of a bummer. Maybe I should have saved this for Henri, but, like, she's all the way back there, you know? Oh, Henri overall is a little more powerful than Tao, but because we got her first, she's just sort of stayed ahead of it so far. She's cool. I'm a big fan of the mages. I just love using them. Excellent job, Tao. Speed is good, it'll get her more turns, but again, levels without MP, not good levels for mages. MP is the top priority. Ugh. It does mean that the effectiveness of your mages can be a bit variable, because if they get unlucky with their level ups and don't get much MP, you know, that will limit the amount of times you can cast spells, so that just puts kind of a hard limit on how much damage they can even do. As far as I recall, there is no way, there's no, like, ether in this game. Once you run out of MP in a battle, that's the end for that battle. So you want to have enough with your mages so that you don't run into the problem where, like, you know, either you use it all too early to deal with, like, an initial wave of knights, or you're saving it all to hit the boss really hard so that they're not effective for a lot of the battle. Because then, you know, that's not good. Because you don't want to become, like, a dead party slot for part of the battle where they do nothing. Because they can't really also do chip damage by attacking. They really can't. Kokichi, you need to get another turn, dude. Like, the time is now. I'm saving that guy for you to kill. Ugh. Leveling up characters who are not quite as fast as the rest of the party is really hard because it's like, this is a game where leaving guys alive for one dude to kill is not necessarily that easy because you don't want them to sit there attacking you. They can deal a good amount of damage. Kokichi. I know the Dark Priests have high evade, but you are not making a good case for yourself right now. I don't think she'll one-shot him. I just want to weaken him enough to because oh, this priests. Why did they give the priest evade? Why would they do that? Unless they just, like, it just seems like an asshole move because it's like, you know that they heal themselves, so making it hard to hit them that you miss and then it's like they healed themselves back to full. Oh. Okay, next time Kokichi gets his turn, hopefully he can actually kill that guy. I think the artillery will get lured over eventually. Basically, we want to kill everything else and then deal with Elliot. As usual. Because A, we get more X, and B, Elliot's gonna hit like a truck. So we do not want anyone else around who could finish off a weakened character. He's gonna be tough to kill. I think he's the type of boss that doesn't start attacking you until you attack him. I'm hoping that is the case. I don't remember. I remember his portrait because it was just so wacky and cool, but I don't really remember anything about this fight, honestly. Because as you can see, it's not particularly memorable. It really is not. I think I'm going to try and get her in range to use her spell on all of them because she totes can. So let's start attacking this artillery. It hits pretty hard, so I'm going to soften it up. So you can see it's like basically an armored tank and there's a dude in there firing some at us. Oh, Ken is, oh man, 3 attack! Oh, he is like I really can't have him leave the party because he's just too good. Like, legitimately, he's so strong. He's ridiculous. He got really lucky in his level ups. So I'm like, I cannot replace him. Even though I don't, like, care that much about him as a character, he's not, like... I don't dislike him, but he doesn't stand out or anything. But I'm like, he's too amazing to replace at this point. Dang. Okay, maybe Kokichi can finish this guy if we're lucky. Oh, he's so far back. Well, I'll try and save him for Kokichi anyway. He's gonna heal himself, though. I guess I killed the artillery too fast for Tao to hit it. Also, I was a little worried that, yeah, he's healing himself. That using magic on all 3 of them would make Elliot move for an attack, which we obviously don't want to happen if we're ready. Because again, there's no like barriers or anything we can hide behind. There's no like mountains he can't cross. If we want to protect our squishies, we need to make sure that we have our tanks adjacent to him. I think she'll kill him a few times, though. I want to get Kokichi another kill here is the thing. I'm going to just inch some dudes to the other side so that we can kind of surround him. Just trying to make sure we're not getting too close. I don't know if Kokichi, even if he hits, can get this in one hit, but hopefully, yeah, good job. That was a great hit. He could have actually done that the whole time. That was so much HP to reset it. Okay, now we start attacking Elliot. Xylo is good tank. Look how cool his battle sprite looks. It looks different than his map sprite though, because he's got like a helmet. He has so much HP, this is gonna take forever. You know, I wonder if like, I thought those things in his head were horns. But in his map sprite, it sort of looked like they were the helmet. Oh, but the things on top of his head really look like... And he's got little, like, nostrils. He looks like a dragon. I think he's a dragon. He looks so much like one. I'm forced to conclude he is really a dragon. Although his battle sprite, because it's fully armored and totally covers his face, it could be anything, right? Because it's like the spikes on the side could just be part of the helmet. His battle sprite actually, it honestly doesn't, I don't find it super impressive. His portrait is cool, but this sort of looks like it looks sort of disproportionate and lumpy. It doesn't like look super well drawn. And B, see with the speed, she gets a lot of turns. The speed levels are nice, but it just sort of, it doesn't stand out that much. It kind of looks like a generic evil knight dude, whereas his face portrait, you know, for his dialogue portrait, genuinely looks quite cool and unique. And he's got the shield on one side, and I don't know, his torso armor looks sort of lumpy. He also apparently is slow enough that he hasn't got his turn in ages. Which is definitely good because we're having trouble whittling him down. It's his turn now. Hopefully we're not about to die. His sprite looks super cool though, I gotta say. Like, it really does look like he's just slamming you in the head. He's attacking like twirling around with a shield. Like, it looks like he's just wrecking you. Which he is, so it's fitting. Oh, good thing you're here, Chris. You can heal poor Ben, so he doesn't die, because he really needs not to, but he's also one of our stronger fighters, so we kinda need him in the fight here. Because seriously, I don't think Elliot is a particularly well-designed boss, and in general, in strategy RPGs, I don't think having one super strong guy works that well, because fights against single enemies aren't very interesting in strategy RPGs. It's just, that's not how the mechanics of the genre really work, right? They're about fighting a whole map of enemies. So you need them to be stronger than a normal enemy to like feel like a— oh, whoa, dang, Ken, deadly attack, holy shit, that was amazing. Holy shit, that was pretty epic too. He just destroyed this guy. But what I was saying is that when you just have one enemy who basically, to make them a proper boss, they need to be stronger than the other, so they just have tons of HP or tons of defense, it means you just sit there attacking turn after turn for a long time, which, A, doesn't feel particularly strategic, which is sort of the point of the genre, right? And B, is boring. And also introduces the RNG of what if one time he gets a double attack or he gets a critical, then we'll just die, but we can't stay away from him because there's no means of doing that. We have to sit there and attack. So it's not a good design, in my opinion. For me, the best battles in strategy RPGs are when the challenge is sort of using what's on the map and sort of sending the right people the right places to kind of make it all work, not individual enemies. Which I felt the laser eye map did well. The individual enemies are not what's challenging there. It's getting across the bridge safely and fast enough to kill the guy. Perhaps you have the strength to rescue King Ramladu and Runefaust. Stop Darksol! Promise that you will free Runefaust, known as Protectora before Darksol came? So these kingdoms were Guardiana and Protectora? The ancients were bad at naming things. Very bad. Although I guess it's no dumber than having the continent called Rune and one of the kingdoms called Runefaust. Which is like, sure. But again, it's like, Elliot, if you had joined us, this would have been easier. You know Darksol is bad news. Elliot was a great warrior. Too bad he was our enemy. Yeah. Pow is coming up again. Oh, nice. So we will go right back to Pow. It's only been a half an hour, so I'm gonna do the second go through of Pow right. And there's some cool stuff here. Secrets abound. Secrets abound. It's gonna be great. That battle was boring and short, which is like, how? But yeah, that battle's really boring. Rollin', 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 the life of the nomad is one for me. We set up this table outside. I saw a big chunk of iron. Remember how ages ago in Manarina we met Gunts, an armadillo who was testing out a steam-powered mecha suit? It's time to recruit him. Get hyped, friends. Get really hyped. Cause he's really cool, and like, how many games have a character like that? Which is just so random and strange. Oh, let's go in here first, I guess. Where's Ernest? When's he coming back? We'll recruit him later. Moving people and the light. 20 years with the light and many more books. I feel like maybe the priest isn't very good at his job if he needs a book to explain to him how to like do. Oh, he's in Ulaanbaatar, yeah. So we'll get him when we get our ship. General Elliot was worried that Darksol was getting ready to open some door, but instead of helping us stop him, he decided to try to kill us instead. Elliot loved Runefaust but hated Darksol. I hope he is at peace now. He hated Darksol so much that he fought for him, putting his own town in danger. So, yeah. I I feel like that type of character, you have to spend enough time in the story setting them up and explaining like why they have a good reason why they cannot abandon their like army or whatever to make them really sympathetic. Balbazak is a dangerous opponent. He controls the fortress and Uraanbaatar. We saw that fortress in the last battle. That's our next destination. If you want to destroy Balbazak, you should do it now before he's killed. He's in there fighting all alone, yelling about vengeance. Go back him up. So we will be recruiting him later. The History of Nomads, Little House on the Pow Prairie. That's amazing. That's an amazing reference. I wonder if that was added by the translators or if in the original Japanese game, for some reason, there was just this reference. Nothing. Aww. Oh, he's just a weapon guy. But we already have the best weapons. Pack, unpack, pack, unpack. I need to get a job at a shop that stays at one place. But like, why do they have to keep packing up? Because couldn't they just close the door of the wagon? Everything is already in the wagon. Feels silly. Oops. Oh, but this time it doesn't leave. That's right. I think it's permanent this time. I want to make sure that when you first go to POW, it can leave. I want to make sure that we don't miss certain really cool things. We've already been in here. I wish that like in battle was a way to just call up the map. Because once again, I'm getting slightly lost in this town and every wagon looks the same from the outside. So it is very hard to remember which ones I haven't seen. Ernest Surgery defeated Elliot and he decided to attack Balbazak's fortress. How to Travel with Children, The Big Prayer, and many more books. Why is the queen of this town a child? Why does this town have a queen? Also, relatedly. It's just a little town. Now, the Elven Arrow is obviously going to be given to one of our archers. Hans is a little weaker right now, so I guess him? Oh, she also is holding a heat axe right now. And now we'll equip it. Yeah, that's a nice big boost. It's like... Yeah, she already had 23 attacks, so now she's a little behind him, but he would have been like a lot behind her if we gave it to her. A steel sword, is that better than the long sword? Let's check. He can't even use it, so who can use it? Can our bird dudes use it? I wish there was a way to just like check the item and like find out about it, but there isn't. It's an old game, friends. You know, it's what it is. He can't use it either. Who on earth can use it? What is it for? You can touch it now. The engine has stopped. Very odd equipment, I'll say. Before he left, Elliot gave me a message for you. It was about Prompt. But I'm not going to tell you the message, apparently. Prompt is across the sea. There you may find folk who know much about the ancients. Yeah, we'll be going to Prompt later. Is that the mermaid town? Oh, here he is. I wonder, because I remember there's a place with mermaids you go to at some point. The monster's frightening everyone. The sheep, too. He's not a monster. He's our friend Gunts. It's me, Gunts from Rindo. Look at this steam suit. Look at these moves. The old doc finally got it working. Gunster is a shining force. So you have to interact with him in Manarina to meet him here. There's all sorts of things like that where like it's missable and you don't really know that, but it is an RPG, so you know, you're meant to talk to everyone. If you follow that general RPG rule, you will get these characters. Oh. I love the sheep. Oh, I keep walking off the edge of the map because there's no real indicator of where it is. We're not done finding secret stuff, by the way. There is another very important secret here, and I have to find which wagon it's in. Or which, like, place, I guess. Yeah, it wasn't these guys. It's super cool, guys. You're gonna be so... Arrgh! I just thought I had more room there. I really wish there was some kind of indicator of where the edge of the town was. Because... I'm doing this on a joystick, so I find it very easy to accidentally slide a little further than I thought I was. No, we were already in here... I think it's this building down here. I didn't go in here yet. Yeah. I didn't remember. I remembered that this is a thing you do. I didn't remember where you are able to access it, so I did look that up. But basically, this guy on the right here is going to do something really important for us. This thing worms an egg and hatches it in seconds. We have an interesting egg here. Can I try to worm it? Remember the egg we got in Manarina, the Domingo egg? We're going to get a Domingo. It works! The egg's hatching! What is that thing? That thing is Domingo! Hello, Domingo. Look how cute. Indeed, how rude. I'm Domingo at your service. Look how he's lifting up the top of his head as if it's like a hat he's tipping to us. He's so cute, guys. I've been calling him a squid, but honestly, I don't know if that's what he is. The blue stuff underneath sort of look like a squid's tentacles, but it also kind of just looks like hair. Maybe he's just a floating head and that white thing really is a hat, and also he's got a single arm tentacle thing. But he's very cute. He's joining the party. He is the only character in the game who can both fly and use magic. So he's quite unique. He's going to be a little tricky to level up, if I remember right. He's a little weak at first, but he'll be so worth it. And also, he's so unique and fun. Yeah, so if you didn't get the Domingo egg, that's probably the message he gives you. And then again, because this game has a lot of missable content, you'll be like, shit, I don't know what to do. Because you can't go back to Manarina. So, you know, it's sort of like, well, that's that. But again, it is an RPG, and if you... Standard RPG rules would say, you go into that room and see the weird machine, you should search it. So, I don't think it's an unreasonable missable thing. It's not like a hidden... Oh, I meant to go into headquarters and overstepped. Again, at least there's no battle out there. That would be so annoying. Let's check out our new friends. Oh, I once again searched because that's... I'm gonna pick the bottom option when I talk to him, and I didn't talk to him first. Okay, let's scroll down. Guns are... I don't know what the SK is for, or the oh, Steam Knight. I bet it's Steam Knight. Again, you can see that because there's only 4 character slots there, the English names for the character classes are sometimes a little hard to parse out. I would assume it was easier in the Jabber. They were using either hiragana or kanji, both of which would contain more information than a single letter. So he's level 8, he can use lances, he's already quite tanky. He doesn't have very high move as a thing, he will fall behind, but at least his agility is not so bad, so he'll get a lot of turns. And he's got decent attack too, so he's quite good. And also he's just so fun and wacky. Here's Domingo, and here's the thing, he comes at level 1. And it makes sense because he was just born, right? Obviously he's gonna be level 1. I'm assuming his class is supposed to be magical creature, but who knows. But you can see, check out those stats. He's level 1 and he has 15 defense and 19 agility. The attack doesn't matter because he's a magic user. So he's already faster than most of our characters. So yeah, he's gonna take some leveling up. But he's already got more defense than some of our characters. So like, he's level 1, but he's no slouch. And he starts with freeze. Like Henri, he learns the freeze line of spells. I'm pretty sure those are the only spells he learns, and he will learn them pretty quick. So he's very cool. Now, of course, the problem is, again, there are so many unique, weird characters in this game. There's 11 party slots. Here's Guns. I am ready for action. Just give me a chance. Domingo's hanging out up there with Jokert. Don't worry about us. We just started singing 1,000 bottles of ale on the wall. Cute. You like my helmet. So I'm thinking Lo is getting dumped for Domingo. I love mages so much, so yes, I will use 3 mages. And you'll notice that I continue to do so even at this point in the game where some of our regular attacks can sometimes like especially the critical hits, can out-damage magic a lot of the time, but I just... You guys, I really like mages. I cannot resist the siren call. Lo, I'm sorry, you traveled a long way with us, but that's it. I really want to use Guns too because he's so cool, but I'm like, who would I replace him with? I'll stay near the back if you don't mind, but I can fight if I have to. I like how polite he is. I must imagine him as being British, you know, like, oh, I'll stay... I can't do a British accent. I'll stay near the back if you don't mind. But I can fight if I have to. Like, very upper classy. I heard Kokichi is really good, but and I like having flying characters. I have 3 now, but they're really useful. I would really like to use guns also. And we are, well, we still have, between these and the knights, we've got 5 melee characters, so that's not bad. I have 3 mages, so I know replacing one of them would obviously be a viable choice, but I really like using mages. Oh, I have 2 archers. It's like I could get rid of an archer, but I love the archers. I guess I could skip Hans. Kokichi is honestly the one I would take out, because honestly, if Ken hadn't leveled up so well, he'd be my drop here, but he just leveled up so well. I'm like, I want to keep him in the party just because we got so lucky with him that I'm like, I want to use him after we managed to get him so strong. Kokichi is really cool. I like him a lot, but I like guns too. He's an armadillo in a mecha suit. I mean, in a medieval fantasy game, that's not exactly common, is it? Maybe I should just get rid of Hans. I like the archers a lot, though. And we're gonna need space for the dragon later. I mean, there's no way I'm not taking the dragon, you know? Like, I love dragons so much. I'm a huge fan. At that time, I guess I'll probably end up replacing Kokichi. I also still don't know who the longsword or the steel sword is for. Because I tried it on both of the party members who use swords. Unless it's only the warriors, that's certainly possible. I guess that would be my guess then. I feel so conflicted. There's so many characters that are so good. I'm sorry, Guns, but I just don't think I have room. Lois just passed out asleep. At least that's great. Picking characters is really tough in this game because you've seen for yourselves, viewers, there's so many fun designs, like the armadillo guy, the Tony Stark guy, the werewolf. It's like there's the squid that hatched from an egg. We'll get a dragon. We'll have like bird people. They're so cool and like fun and unique. Oh, it's so hard to pick only 11. Hans is probably a possible drop because you know, I have 2 archers and I like Diana a little better. But for now, I think we'll wrap up this episode because next time we'll have a battle. We're gonna go fight that, I think it was Balbazar, the guy that Ernest went off to fight. So we're gonna fight in that castle. So that's all for this time. We had 1 battle, which was short and a little boring, but that's fine. And then we explored this very cool town where we're joined by 2 very cool party members. And next time, we're gonna go rescue Ernest and give our new buddies take our new buddies out for a spin and show off Domingo. So that will be very cool. So it's a short episode, but they won't all be the same length. So next time on Shining Force, we go to the rescue for Ernest, and then we'll go on to Renbatal and get our boat. So we're heading out into the world. So until then, goodbye Simone, goodbye viewers. That's all for Shining Force.